What's going on, world? It's your man David Gamma. I'm back repping SygacityGamers. I'm here with the one and only Filthierich. And a lot of you guys, you may have seen him on YouTube and other channels. You may know already about what he is and who he is and what he does. But for those that don't quite know who you are and what you do, you mind sharing?
Oh, no problem. Well, my name is Rich Bantegi. A lot of people in the video game industry know me as Filthierich. I work for Namco Bandai Games as a community manager. So I work with all the games, and there's a whole list of things that I do over there. But what I do, I just try to connect the community and the publisher and the developers that we have to make better games.
Yes, absolutely, man. Thank you for sharing that. Filthierich, he's at many events. Pretty much any event that's going on within the fighting game community, we can see him here. And like you said, you work closely with the gamers as well as the developers behind the scene and things like that. Now, your primary role is a product manager, or I'm sorry, the community manager. Correct. So what that basically means is when you do come to events such as Fighting Around, what are you looking for? Like, what is your main goal? Like, are you looking to kind of see what the gamers are leaning towards, or are you the guy that kind of puts ideas out there? Just to give us a little in-depth knowledge as to what exactly you do.
Well, when I come out to events like this, it's the same thing that I would do in-house or on the net through our social channels and stuff like this. Okay. But what I like to concentrate on when I'm at events is just to be able to find out where the buzz is at, what everybody's really interested in, and like where the hype is at.
Okay.
Because to be completely honest, this is the core community, which is probably more understanding towards what they want to be able to see and say for upcoming games. So coming from a developer standpoint and from a community standpoint, it's good for me to be able to take in as much input as I can, just to make sure that whatever you say does fall on the right ears. Because a lot of the times what happens is that people will sit and complain about things, and maybe adjustments will be made, but maybe adjustments won't be made. Right. I just make sure that the message is clear, coming from your point of view, to be relayed back to me, to be relayed back onto the proper people.
Wow, man. Thank you for explaining that and elaborating on exactly what you do. Absolutely. And speaking of that, though, what is the easiest way to get in touch with you? Do you have an email address or Twitter? Like, for example, let's say there is someone out there, or a lot of people out there that aren't able to be at these events to meet you in person and just kind of have a little chat with you. What is another means or medium that they can use to reach you and kind of voice their opinions and thoughts on games and also what you do?
Well, first off, don't shut yourself out. Come to these events, really make it happen. Make it happen, I did everything that I could when I was growing up just to make sure that I can come to every event. But in the case that you cannot, the best way to reach me is at www.twitter.com/filthierich. Now that's Filthie Rich. Not to be confused with Filthy Rich, but just to add that little oomph and significance, what I mean. So that's the best way. But otherwise, other than that, all the Namco social channels I actually man and control myself. So if you're a fan, if you're a fan of, let's see, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Pac-Man, Galaga, any of those channels can be reached. Ace Combat, these are just some of the base. These are some of the
fighting games.
Everything. Well, so if you were a fan of any of those games, you could always reach those Facebook channels. And to be completely honest, regardless of how many messages we get, I make sure to respond or to read every single one of those. So we like to be able to concentrate on conversations within the channels, but sometimes the best way really is to hit me up on Twitter. And I'm able to provide news updates, raw, the real deal, by the minute. It could be if I find out about some information on some new game that you want to hear about, I'll tweet it on the spot. We can go into examples later, but that's about it. That's definitely the best way.
You need to follow this guy on Twitter, man. Nothing automated.
Free stuff. I do a lot of free stuff. We're all about sharing. Namco Bandai Games definitely turning a new leaf where we really want to implement community. And it's cool to be able to share these things, and maybe if you didn't have that opportunity, I want to be able to provide that for you. So just taking it easy. If you hanging at home playing a game, something's loading, maybe get a free Pac-Man game. Right? You know what I mean?
Right. Thank you, man. Again, this is the guy behind the scenes. When you guys visit these websites and these different social networks, as he already mentioned, we're going to have his information right here, so you guys will be able to follow him and stay updated, keep updated on everything that we already discussed. Now, earlier I mentioned that you are a gamer yourself.
Oh, yes.
You also mentioned that you try to, keep in touch with seeing what the buzz is and things like that. We have, several new games that have been introduced, more recently to the fighting game community. First, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
It's been out for about a month now, exactly. Yes. And, there's been a lot of different, opinions about that game. How do you feel, as a gamer, first of all, about that game, and what do you think it's doing in terms of any contribution to the gaming scene right now?
Now, I want to answer the question from a gamer standpoint.
Okay.
Being a gamer who's been familiarized with a lot of the games, especially in the fighting game industry, as early as Street Fighter 2. When I see this game, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I see the potential that it has and being able to grab new players.
Right.
And that alone is definitely something that, gives me a good amount of interest. Okay. So when I think about players, there's going to be a big tournament, I want to be the one who can come up on top and just be able to say, I'm the best at this game. Right. So, that competitive nature does tick as soon as I hear the name. And I'm seeing there's so many adjustments. Everybody's complaining about certain characters being the best in the game, but I feel that this event was definitely evidence that as long as you put in the time and work, you can make your characters the best.
Absolutely.
And just the way that the game is shown, with the way that people have been doing their viral videos or just training tutorials, it's been really cool, easily accessible to those casual, but then a game that is very, comes with a very strong appeal for the hardcore gamer.
Okay, good answer, man, good answer. And gotta ask you about this game, obviously, and I know it may be a little difficult to give an answer that may not sound biased, but still, we down here in the A, Atlanta, Tekken 6, crazy hype.
Yes.
Tournament. How do you feel about that, man? What are your thoughts on the end result? And how do you think, what do you feel about the southern region in terms of Tekken 6? Because there's been a lot of hype, and I've interviewed some people already that say, hey, the best Tekken 6 players are down in the A. So what do you think about that?
Oh, man, so the first time I ever made my way over here was actually for final round.
Oh, okay.
The first final round I went to was last year.
Okay.
And I won the team tournament with Cali, Texas.
He's not a casual player.
But that in itself, what happened was the complete package.
Right.
So the package of just being able to be around such intense competition with such tenacity, and everybody's really emotional and they're really passionate about this. That just you get consumed in it.
Yes.
So it's almost one of those things where you have to be at this event, but to be able to experience this just on its own level.
Right.
And at the same time, it's just ridiculous the amount of camaraderie that comes along with being able to gather with everybody here in the South.
Right.
The way that people are nice and courteous to each other, the way that they introduce themselves to each other, it's it's unreal.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
actually from New York originally, and I've only moved down here about 2 years ago. Everything he's saying is absolutely
and that's true. And I could vouch for that because I grew up in New York as well.
Yeah.
So New York, from New York to Cali to Philippines to everywhere in the world, I really feel that there's something special, and there's something you really can't explain about ATL. But you really have to come here to experience it.
Yes.
Don't shy yourself of just only limiting yourself to watching final round on the stream.
Right.
Take your time, come over here. You really got to see it. For Tekken 6, over here, they were actually able to fill up a 128-man bracket.
Oh my God.
What we gone ahead and done, we contacted Larry. I'm good friends with Larry, and then I contacted him, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let's try to bring more people into this event. So our good friends over at Hori and everybody in the house, we put together a nice prize package for the top players. And then at the same time, I wanted to be able to give away nice, cool, free swag for everybody that was in the building. And, really added to that tenacity and that craziness.
Very generous.
You know what I mean?
Generous. I've seen some
so when you're fighting for something that originally wasn't there, and it's just one of those bonus packages, everybody's gonna put that little extra work into it. So players who I know who even mentioned themselves who weren't gonna come to this originally, gone ahead and said that, hey, I'm gonna come over here now. You know what I mean? And at the same time, I wanted to be here as a representative of the Tekken project team to be able to answer any questions that anybody ever had. For recently we've been talking about Tekken Tag 2. So that alone, so with the competition and with the possibility of being able to answer questions that have been in people's minds, everybody's been